Mark, you can confirm that this is water. It's not something else. Nobody's going to get in trouble. It really is water. You want a drink? It's a normal substance. See? You want to touch it? It's water. Is it cold? Do you believe it? Do you believe that you need this? We all need it. See, it's clean, it's clear. Ron knows where it came from. It's water. And that's all it is right now. But when we gather in a place of faith, and we ask that the power of the Holy Spirit be present in this place and present in this water, we invoke the presence of the Holy Spirit and call upon God to be in this place to bless those who receive it, that are touched by it, that touch it. Now I'm in the back of the sanctuary and you all should be facing the front. And why should you be facing the front and not the back? Because most of you, when you were baptized, you were infants and you were small, and you may not remember it. But the sounds of the flowing waters, as they are poured out of a pitcher and into the bowl, into the baptismal font, or in some churches as the water is turned on and it begins to flow into the baptismal pool, the sounds evoke the senses and call us to an understanding of the flowing love of God. And the Holy Spirit flows. Water sometimes is in a place that is dirty, muddy, filthy. But there are filtering mechanisms that unclean water moves to a place that it is clean and returns to a place that is pure. The power of water to cleanse and to give life. The Hebrew community, the Israelites, the Judeans, the Samaritans, the Galileans, those who came to the waters, they understood the power of water. They understood its necessity, for it is an essential part of life. You can live some time without food. If you got a belly like mine, you can live a little bit longer. But you cannot live without water. Water is essential. If the water inside your body goes too low, you get dehydrated, and it affects your internal organs. It affects your mind. And it affects your ability to survive. On the outside, water is an essential gift of cleansing, making you clean in community and before God. In Judaism, in the ancient Jewish rituals of the bath, they would go down into the mikveh. They go down, walk down, as we learned on one of the pilgrimages to Israel. You walk down one side and you go down into the waters. And then they had another side that they came back up. A ritual of cleansing. A reminder, a rite and a reminder that you are made clean before God. To come with a clean heart and spirit before God. And to realize the blessings of that cleansing. Shed off the dirt of yesterday. Now, dirt is physical, but dirt is also spiritual. We get rid of the dirt and that which makes us physically look bad and smell bad. But we get rid of, even more so, the dirt that makes us feel bad and look bad spiritually. Baptism is a spiritual cleaning. It is a spiritual gift of blessing, and it is a sign of relationship. So it cleans us because it brings us into a right place. When you are baptized, the stain of original sin is washed away. The sorrows of yesterday can be washed away. And when I say sorrows, I don't mean grieving and grief. I mean that which holds us back from a relationship with God. Opens us to a place that we can present ourselves at our best. Do you know the gift you received in baptism? For any of you who have never been baptized, do you know the gift of baptism calls us into relationship? A relationship of love and grace. On this Sunday, we recognize the baptism of Jesus. As Jesus went down to the Jordan, not only to pray, but to be baptized. Those of you who went into those waters in Jordan, it was much colder than the water that was in this pitcher. Was it 80 degrees outside, 75, 80 degrees outside? And stepping into those waters in the Jordan River, I'm here to tell you it about took my breath away. That water was so cold. They might have dumped a whole truck of ice cubes in there before I got in the water. That's what it felt like. And in that cold water, you cannot deny that you've been touched. As it takes out that breath that you had, you have to regroup, and you suddenly realize new air, new breath comes in, and that water refreshes you very quickly. Might be why Methodists dip and pour and instead of go way down in, because that water was really cold. But coming up out of that water, did you not sense something? The presence and the power of the divine in that moment of calling us into a relationship with God. It's kind of like the Holy Spirit taking a child and putting them in the bathtub. And when that bath takes place, what does a parent do? With a small child, the parent holds and protects that child. A parent will speak to the child, reassuring them that they are not alone. A parent is going to cleanse them of all the dirt and the grime that is on them and help them be clean. A parent is going to reassure them as they bring them out of the water to know that they are loved. A parent is going to embrace them and protect and care. Baptism is a sign of God's love. Do you know that when you come out of those waters or in the act of your baptism, God is saying, "Precious child, you are loved. Precious child, you are beautiful. Precious child, you are clean. And you are gifted with an opportunity to make a difference in your life and in the world." Is baptism the end all to be all? Or the be all to end all, however you want to say it? No. Baptism is an opportunity for us to come together in relationship. As you claim what God has for you and God claims you, the adoption is signed. The blessing has the seal. And the gift of life in its fullest measure is offered to you. How can that be in something so simple as water? But it can be. There's a video on Facebook, and I know some of you are not on Facebook and you're missing the video, but let me give you the quick picture. When you're in Israel and Jordan, two countries that have the Jordan River flowing along the border, some parts of it's all in Israel, some parts of it's on the border. When you're to the north, you have the River Jordan, you have the Sea of Galilee. Those of you who've been there, the Galilee is this pristine waters, clean, drinkable water, and it flows south. The water that comes into it and that goes out of it is the Jordan River, and it's teeming with life. Fish and other life, and it sustains life for millions of individuals as that water flows in Israel, in Jordan, in the West Bank, through the tap water and the services that people need to sustain life. That clean water is moving and flowing and giving life to millions. Then it moves southward. Where does it end up? I heard it. Ends up in the Dead Sea. And what is the Dead Sea? It's dead. Doesn't have an outflow. The water filled with all the salt that if you lay on your back, you should float. I'm sure it's for real, but I wasn't going in. But it's a sign of death. Dead water. The only thing living in it are the people who jump in it. No fish. No little sea creatures. It's dead. Baptismal waters take you to that zone. But is it the end? Is it the end? Do you know that even in that place where death takes place, there is life? What do people do when they go to the Dead Sea? They slap some of that dirty mud. Bet they rub it all over their face and all over their body, and it's grimy. And then companies scoop up that stuff and they sell it in cosmetics and soap. All this gross stuff from a Dead Sea. But what does it do? It helps to revitalize, to revive. There's some soap from the Dead Sea, and I guarantee you it works. If you have psoriasis, skin ailments, and you know how frustrating that can be. Soap, made out of products from the Dead Sea, brings about principles of healing. Where, oh where, is your victory, death? Where is your sting? Even in a place that looks dead, life abounds. When we go into the waters of baptism, it's like going into a place of death, but life continues to flow and blessings are offered. When you are baptized, there is a death to a part of you. The sin and the separation. But that same water brings about life and relationship. You shed off something, but you gain something. How is it with your soul? Are you the Sea of Galilee? Or are you the Dead Sea? If you are the Sea of Galilee, may you be reminded that there are always opportunities to make that water more pure. If you are at the Dead Sea, may you be reminded that deep down in those waters, life is teeming, is being revived. Death is when we hold it to ourselves like the shores of the Dead Sea. But life comes in sharing something. The mud and the salt and the sulfur and all those things in the Dead Sea, when they are shared, they help to bring a revitalization. And new life comes about. Healing comes about. Will you let the water, will you let the spiritual nutrients flow from you and share out? When you go into the waters of baptism, part of it's going to stay there and sink to the bottom. But it is teeming with life that flows out. Jesus went into the waters and was baptized. And part of him was left there. But what came from on high in those waters was the sound of God. And what did God say? This is my Son, with whom I am well pleased. The favored one. When you go down into the waters of baptism, and when you renew your baptism, the voice from God speaks. This is one of my children, precious child of God, beloved and beautiful, it is pleasing that you have come to the waters. Now dig in spiritually and grab that healing substance that is found in the mud, so to speak, and make something beautiful. The make is healing, and that is sharing God's love with the sign of blessing. Go forth from this place in love and truth. You've been baptized by water and by the Spirit. We do the water, God does the Spirit. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Life is revitalized. You're in those waters. Now, how will you use them? How will you share them? How will you be in God's love?